This is what everyone is waiting for. The appearance on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, a place that has witnessed so many historic royal and national moments. So, let me ask you this. When was the last moment a tiara reportedly made a queen cry? Because right now, royal watchers were left stunned. Kate wears again Diana's famous tiara, the Cambridge lover's knot, and Camilla is reportedly deeply emotional. This is not simply a fashion moment, people. This is a powerful statement wrapped in diamonds and pearls, filled with history, grief, and palace politics. And once you understand what this tiara actually means, you may never look at royal jewelry in quite the same way again. Stay with me. Before we move further, tell me where you are watching from. I always want to know which part of the world is following this royal story with us. Drop your city or country in the comments, and then stay with me, because the meaning behind this tiara goes much deeper than most people realize. The image alone is enough to make people stop and look twice. A balcony appearance is never only about where someone stands or what they wear, because royal appearances are watched for signs of confidence, unity, distance, and change. That is why even a few seconds in front of the cameras can create a much larger conversation. And this time, the jewelry became part of that conversation. The estimated $135 million heirloom that started a royal storm. Before we take a closer look at the emotions and the history, let's take a closer look at the Cambridge lover's knot tiara. Jeweler Stephen Stone estimates it is worth around $135 million. This value could be even higher because of the remarkable women who have worn it. Just think about that. $135 million resting on Kate's head during a state banquet. That is not just a tiara, it is a historic national treasure. The number itself is striking, but the story behind the number matters even more. Royal jewelry is rarely treated like ordinary personal property. It can be tied to a title, a family position, a ceremony, or a chapter in the monarchy. So when a piece appears again, people naturally ask what the palace is communicating through that choice. The tiara was made by the first official crown jeweler, Gerard, for Queen Mary in 1913. Its history is just as impressive as its price. Queen Mary designed the tiara based on a headpiece that belonged to her grandmother, Princess Augusta of Hesse. The original Cambridge lover's knot tiara is believed to be in a private collection and is now missing. When Queen Mary ordered this piece, she melted down another tiara from her own collection, the Ladies of England tiara, to create it. That tells us how much she valued this design. The construction of the tiara tells its own story about royal tradition. Queen Mary was not simply choosing something pretty for an event. She was creating an object that would connect her with her family and with earlier generations. That same idea remains visible today whenever the piece is brought out for another major occasion. Now, let's describe its striking appearance. The diamond and pearl headpiece contains 19 diamond arches, lover's knot bows, and 19 dangling pear-shaped Baroque pearls. It is not only beautiful, but also surprisingly heavy, which made it known for being uncomfortable. Diana wore the lover's knot tiara at many events, even though it reportedly gave her headaches. Just imagine wearing a $135 million piece that causes pain. That is some serious commitment. The design has survived because it is both historic and instantly dramatic. From across a ballroom, the arches and pearls catch attention. From a close photograph, the details become even more striking. Either way, the tiara demands to be noticed. Originally, the lover's knot tiara had 19 upright pearls on each diamond curve sourced from another tiara. These were later replaced with a row of brilliant cut diamonds. Across the years, the pieces changed, shaped by Queen Mary, to create the elegant design we see today. After Queen Mary died in 1953, the tiara was inherited by her granddaughter, Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen wore it several times in the 1950s, but later preferred other pieces like the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Afterwards, the tiara sat in royal storage, waiting for another important wearer. That person was Diana. And that is where this story really begins. Queen Mary's decision shows how deliberately royal symbols can be created. She was thinking about family history and continuity, not simply decoration. That same idea remains visible today whenever the piece is brought out for another major occasion. Diana, the people's princess, and her most important royal symbol. When people think about Princess Diana, they remember her kindness, her style, and her tragic life. Among royal watchers and historians, the Cambridge lover's knot tiara continues to stand out as a powerful symbol of her time. It meant more than just jewelry, it carried part of her story. In 1981, the Queen lent the lover's knot tiara to Princess Diana as a wedding-era loan. However, Diana chose the Spencer tiara, a family heirloom, on her wedding day. Despite its heavy weight, which caused her discomfort, the lover's knot became one of her favorite pieces. This detail matters because Diana selected the Spencer tiara from her own family for her wedding. But once she became part of the royal family, the lover's knot became her symbol of status. The tiara complemented Diana's tall, elegant figure and framed her face beautifully. It quickly became recognizable, and many famous photographs of her wearing it at events helped strengthen its place in history. Photographers captured her in this tiara, and it appeared in publications around the world. Diana's photographs gave the piece a new life. Millions of people saw her wearing it, and those images became part of the public memory. That is why a later wearer cannot escape the comparison, even when she is creating her own identity. The tiara became closely linked to her image and influence. Diana often moved between the lover's knot and her family's Spencer diamond tiara. Reports indicate that the lover's knot's weight caused her headaches, which is why she sometimes chose her family's tiara instead. This shows that even though it caused her pain, she continued to wear it because it was recognized as part of her role as Princess of Wales. When Charles and Diana ended their marriage in 1996, she reportedly gave the tiara back to the Queen. Although the Queen had loaned it to her, it belonged to the Princess of Wales title, not to Diana herself. Once she lost that title, she also lost the tiara. She could keep personal gifts, but not official royal pieces, including this tiara. This is a sad note in royal history. Diana's most famous tiara was no longer available to her when she was no longer the Princess of Wales. 1 year later, Diana died in a tragic car crash in Paris on August 31, 1997, at just 36 years old. For royal watchers, that association never really disappeared. Years can pass, but certain images remain familiar. Diana in the lover's knot is one of those images. It became a visual memory that people could recognize instantly, and that memory later gave the tiara a new emotional meaning when Kate began wearing it. After Diana's death, the tiara was not seen publicly for many years. It went back into storage as it seemed the palace was still dealing with a piece of jewelry so closely tied to a woman whose memory remained incredibly powerful. For nearly 2 decades, the Cambridge lover's knot was gone from public view. Then, in 2015, a new Princess of Wales brought it back into the spotlight. Kate's story makes the return even more emotional because it happened after a period when public appearances were limited. When someone steps away because of a serious personal challenge, returning to a familiar symbol can feel very different from wearing it during an ordinary royal season. The same diamonds can suddenly look like a sign of endurance. Kate's health battle, the long absence, and the dramatic return. This story goes beyond a piece of jewelry. At its heart, this story is about survival, strength, and reclaiming one's place in a world that did not expect a return so soon. Princess Kate last wore a tiara in December 2023. That night, she dazzled in the Queen Mary's lover's knot tiara at the annual diplomatic reception at Buckingham Palace. Dressed in a pink sequin gown by Jenny Packham, Kate looked radiant. It seemed like an ordinary royal evening, but everything changed just weeks later. In March 2024, Princess Kate was diagnosed with cancer. The timing of Kate's return gave the tiara another meaning. It became part of a story about coming back after a difficult period. The message was not loud, but the image suggested strength, continuity, and a willingness to step forward again. She missed events while recovering from chemotherapy. The woman who once wore Diana's famous crown now fought for her life out of the public spotlight. While she took time to heal, the tiara sat in its case and her gown stayed untouched. The palace continued with its schedule of visits and banquets without her. The public also watched Kate's return with a different kind of attention. There was relief, curiosity, and an awareness that her appearances could not simply be treated as routine. Every appearance carried a reminder of what she had been through. That made the return of a familiar royal jewel even more noticeable. Though Kate did not wear a tiara during the Qatar state visit in December 2024, she attended to welcome the Emir of Qatar and his wife. This moment stood out because she wore no tiara and no evening gown. She appeared in the daytime, showing everyone that she was still there, still fighting, and still strong. That is also why viewers paid attention to what Kate was not wearing as much as what she was wearing. Her earlier appearances had been more restrained. The return of a famous tiara signaled a different stage in her public life. Kate later shared that life after cancer treatment was very difficult. She expressed how she felt the need to put on a brave face during treatment. but found the return to ordinary life difficult afterwards. These reflections came just before one of the most emotional moments in royal history. On July 8, 2025, Kate attended a state banquet at Windsor Castle for French President Emmanuel Macron, wearing the lover's knot tiara. After being away from royal duties for most of 2024, she returned to a glamorous event. Everyone in the room likely reacted with surprise as they saw her wearing the tiara again after a year and a half. Formal banquets are designed for symbolism. Flags, uniforms, gowns, medals, jewelry, and seating arrangements all communicate something. When a historic tiara enters that setting, it becomes part of the ceremony itself rather than a simple accessory. Dressed in a red Givenchy gown adorned with diamonds, she wore a tiara that sparkled above her. She was a cancer survivor reclaiming her public role and wearing Diana's crown once more. The moment was emotional because it showed a woman returning to an important part of her life after a difficult period away from the spotlight. Kate wore the lover's knot tiara with a caped red dress designed by Sarah Burton for Givenchy, the same designer of her wedding dress. This choice was deliberate, marking a powerful full-circle moment. Kate's appearance told a story, and less than a year later she wore the tiara again. The choice of clothing can also reinforce the story. When a designer or color connects with another important moment, viewers notice. Royal fashion often works through these small links, allowing a single appearance to carry several memories at once. On March 18, 2026, during the Nigerian state banquet, Kate wore the lover's knot tiara for the first time that year. She looked striking in a dress by Andrew Gein and earrings that belonged to the late Queen. That day was also Mother's Day in Britain. The timing made the appearance even more interesting. Kate was wearing a piece connected with Diana, while also wearing jewelry that connected her with Queen Elizabeth. In one image, two generations of royal women appeared to be present through the jewelry Kate had chosen. By the next appearance, the pattern was becoming easier to see. Kate had many pieces available to her, yet she returned to the same tiara. That tells us that familiarity and emotional meaning can matter just as much as novelty when royal jewelry is selected. Kate's tiara choice could have been a tribute to William's mother and grandmother. Each time Kate chooses this tiara, it represents something deeper than fashion. There is significant emotional meaning behind every wearing. This story goes beyond celebrity gossip and touches on something more human. Many royal watchers, historians, and fans ask, why does Kate Middleton wear this tiara? The Diana-Kate comparison has become almost automatic whenever the tiara appears. Every new appearance can produce another round of photographs and comparisons. In that sense, the tiara keeps Diana present while also allowing Kate to build her own visual history. In almost 15 years as a royal, Kate has worn 5 tiaras, but she has worn the Queen Mary lover's knot tiara the most, a total of 15 times. She last wore it during the Nigerian state banquet on March 18th. This is not a coincidence. It is a carefully repeated choice made over the years. It makes a strong statement, and former royal butler Grant Harold offers a meaningful explanation. Repeated choices become especially powerful in royal life. People may forget one outfit, but they remember a pattern. If Kate continues returning to the lover's knot, its association with her own future reign may eventually become as strong as its association with Diana. Harold believes Kate's choice runs deeper than it looks. He says it is clear that the tiara is a favored piece, as it suits her style well. However, he feels there is an emotional reason for her frequent wear. This also explains why the question of Diana keeps returning. Kate's position as Princess of Wales naturally carries a connection to the woman who held that title before her. The title itself has history, and the jewelry can make that history visible without turning the moment into a formal speech. He explains that Kate likely wears this tiara to honor her late mother-in-law, Princess Diana. Since William misses his mother deeply, Kate probably wants to include Diana's memory in her role as Princess of Wales. When William sees Kate in the tiara, he may be reminded of his mother, which likely holds significant meaning for him. William's feelings cannot be known simply from a photograph, but the symbolism is easy to understand. Remembering a parent through a familiar object is something many families can relate to. In a royal setting, that private feeling simply becomes visible to a much larger audience. Consider this: when Kate wears the tiara, she is not just accessorizing, she is honoring William's loss by bringing a piece of his mother's memory into the moment. Many may overlook this emotional layer when looking at royal photographs. Harold adds that wearing this tiara allows Kate to keep Diana's memory present. It shows how thoughtful she is. Kate's jewelry choices have often allowed her to honor people without making the moment overly dramatic. A ring, a necklace, or a tiara can become a quiet tribute. That approach fits the careful public style she has developed over the years. Beyond this tiara, Kate has made an effort to remember Diana by wearing her jewelry. Her engagement ring also belonged to Diana. In April 2023, Kate said she did not even need to resize the ring because it fit her perfectly, which made her feel honored. The engagement ring makes the same point in a different way. It is a piece that can be worn in ordinary public life, not only at grand state occasions. Together with the tiara, it reinforces the idea that Diana's memory remains part of Kate's public identity. Kate never had the chance to meet Princess Diana, who tragically died in a car crash on August 31, 1997, when she was only 36. At that time, Prince William was just 15, and his brother Prince Harry was 12. Despite never knowing Diana personally, Kate has done much to keep her memory alive within the royal family, and the tiara symbolizes that dedication. There is a reason old photographs of Diana still appear whenever Kate wears the piece. The visual connection is immediate. Viewers do not need a long explanation. They see the same tiara, recognize the same royal history, and begin thinking about the different lives of the two princesses of Wales. This tiara plays a significant role in her position as Princess of Wales. It features a neoclassical design with diamonds and pear-shaped pearls. Originally made for Queen Mary of Teck, Charles III's great-grandmother, it was Diana's favorite tiara and is now Kate's as well. Kate's connection to Diana is therefore impossible to separate from the public image of the Princess of Wales. The title carries history, and the jewelry makes that history visible. Every appearance adds another layer to the connection. The tiara has been passed down through family history, representing both joy and sorrow. Every time Kate wears it, she carries that lineage with her. The piece began with Queen Mary, became strongly associated with Diana, and is now being used by Kate. 3 women, 3 eras, and 3 different meanings connected by the same diamonds and pearls. Named use and ermine Trumar, and now we get to the part that caused the strongest reaction on royal Twitter and TikTok. While Kate's choice to wear Diana's tiara seems beautiful and meaningful, there is reportedly another woman present whose feelings are different, Queen Camilla. This is also why reports about Camilla attract so much attention. The relationship between Diana's legacy and Camilla's place in the monarchy is one of the most emotionally charged subjects in royal coverage. Any visible reminder of Diana can therefore create speculation about how others in the family might feel. Let's set the scene for the Nigerian state banquet on March 18, 2026. The British royals hosted a state banquet for the President and First Lady of Nigeria at Windsor Castle. Queen Camilla wore the late Queen's Belgian sapphire tiara, along with Cartier bracelets from the Queen Mother's collection, and a diamond serpent necklace from her grandmother, Sonia Kiel-Cubitt. At the banquet, both women wore historically important jewelry, but the public reaction was not equal. Camilla's pieces represented the institution and its long collection, while Kate's tiara carried a very specific connection to Diana. That difference explains why viewers focus so strongly on Kate's choice. Camilla looked stunning, but then Kate arrived wearing the lover's knot tiara. This changed the atmosphere in the room, at least in the eyes of many royal watchers. The Nigerian banquet provided exactly the kind of setting where these comparisons could become intense. It was formal, photographed, and filled with historic jewelry. Camilla had her own important pieces, but Kate's arrival with the lover's knot created a different kind of attention because viewers already knew the story behind it. According to several royal sources, there has been tension between Camilla and Kate for years. When Kate wore a large tiara at this state banquet, an insider claimed it reignited tensions because Camilla felt Kate was trying to steal her spotlight. It is important to separate public speculation from confirmed palace fact. Claims about private tears, private arguments, or hidden motives are difficult to prove from photographs alone. But the reaction online shows why the story became so powerful. People already know the history, and when a familiar symbol appears, they naturally build a narrative around it. To understand Camilla's view, consider her background. She has faced public hostility over her relationship with Charles and was blamed for the marriage problems between Charles and Diana. Diana is seen by many as a saint, a beloved figure who was wronged. Camilla's position makes the conversation even more sensitive. Her public role is now firmly established, yet the history surrounding Charles and Diana remains part of the public imagination. A Diana-linked tiara can therefore reopen memories that the institution has spent years trying to move beyond. Each time Kate wears the lover's knot tiara, social media fills with side-by-side images of Diana and Kate in the tiara, reminding everyone of Diana's presence. Kate Middleton paid tribute to both Queen Elizabeth II and Diana by wearing Queen Mary's famous lover's knot tiara, a historic piece dating back to 1913 and valued at around $1 million or more. The Diana-Kate comparison will probably continue for years. Every new appearance can produce another round of photographs and comparisons. In that sense, the tiara keeps Diana present while also allowing Kate to build her own visual history. While palace officials describe this choice positively, the underlying message is clear. Every time Kate wears the tiara, it brings Diana back to the forefront. And Camilla knows this. Royal insiders say reports of Camilla being in tears stem from the pain of watching the public admire Diana through Kate's choices for years. Again, it is important not to treat every online claim as confirmed. Royal social media often turns small details into dramatic stories. The safer conclusion is that Kate's choice created a strong reaction because viewers already understood what the tiara represented. The tiara is not just jewelry. It represents the idea that Diana is not forgotten and still matters deeply to the public. For Camilla, who has worked hard to gain public acceptance as queen and engage in charitable work, this situation is difficult. Camilla's journey through the monarchy is separate from Kate's, but public discussion often places them inside the same story. That is why a single piece of jewelry can create so much speculation. It connects personal history with institutional history. It is reportedly painful for her to face the presence of the people's princess at formal events. But a photograph cannot prove a private emotional reaction. What can be seen clearly is the public response. Social media quickly turned the jewelry choice into a discussion about old rivalries and new royal roles. What this tiara is really telling us about the future of the crown. This story is about more than just a tiara. At its heart, this story is about identity, legacy, and context that might show us the future direction of the monarchy. The tiara has become almost a character in its own right. It has witnessed different eras, different queens, and different public expectations. Its return, therefore, feels like another chapter being added to a story that has never really ended. Since joining the royal family nearly 15 years ago, Kate Middleton has worn 5 different tiaras. The one she wears most often is the Queen Mary Lover's Knot tiara, which Princess Diana also loved. This choice is important. For a future queen, that kind of symbolism can be useful. It creates continuity without requiring a formal announcement. A familiar tiara can quietly tell the public that the past is respected while the next chapter is beginning. Kate has worn beautiful tiaras, including the Oriental Circlet, which she debuted at a German state banquet in December 2025. It had not been seen for 20 years and features 2,600 diamonds in an Indian-inspired design. The wider collection gives her freedom to create that identity. Some pieces are strongly associated with particular queens, while others have international or historical connections. The collection can therefore become a visual map of the monarchy she hopes to represent. Despite having many options, Kate often returns to her favorites. This reflects the careful crafting of her identity, showing who she is and who she hopes to be as a future queen. Repeated choices become especially powerful in royal life. People may forget one outfit, but they remember a pattern. If Kate continues returning to the lover's knot, its association with her own future reign may eventually become as strong as its association with Diana. Grant Herald noted that Kate understands that her and Prince William's monarchy will be different from that of the late Queen. It will need to be modern, and her fashion should show that. That balance between memory and independence may be one of Kate's defining qualities. She can acknowledge Diana while remaining completely herself. The goal is not to recreate the past, but to carry its most meaningful parts into a different future. This highlights a key point. The future of the British monarchy, the William and Kate era, can be seen in their choice of tiaras. The lover's knot honors Diana, while the Oriental Circlet marks a change from the Elizabethan era. Each selection sends a strong message about the future reign. Other historic pieces will give Kate different opportunities. Some will connect her with Elizabeth, some with Queen Mary, and some with royal history outside Britain. The collection can therefore become a visual map of the monarchy she hopes to represent. Since marrying Prince William in 2011, Kate has worn 4 tiaras from the royal collection: the Cartier Halo, the Lotus Flower, the Lover's Knot, and the Strathmore Rose. Now, the Oriental Circlet adds to that list. Each tiara is chosen carefully and has meanings beyond just fashion. At the center of it all is Diana's memory. Kate believes Diana would have been a wonderful grandmother to her children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Kate said, "We miss her every day." Hada. The engagement ring makes the same point in a different way. It is a piece that can be worn in ordinary public life, not only at grand state occasions. Together with the tiara, it reinforces the idea that Diana's memory remains part of Kate's public identity. This shows the family's private feelings. Every time Kate chooses the Lover's Knot, she shares her grief beautifully and respectfully. Wearing Diana's tiara shows her support for a grieving husband and marks her return to public life after health problems. Perhaps the most interesting part is that none of this requires a spoken message. The wearer does not need to explain the meaning. The audience supplies the history automatically, because the object has already accumulated decades of associations. Recently, Kate attended her first state banquet in nearly 2 years. She wore a beautiful deep red silk dress by Gioni and paired it with the famous Lover's Knot tiara. This tiara, once worn by Princess Diana, has become a favored piece of Kate's. The timing of that appearance mattered. A woman who had spent so much time away from major public duties was once again standing in a room filled with world leaders, royal family members, cameras, and historic symbols. And above her head was the same tiara that had once framed Diana's face. Kate's choice connected the past with the present and honored a woman she never knew. It also showed that returning to royal life did not mean leaving personal history behind. Instead, Kate could carry that history with her while continuing to shape her own role. The contrast with other tiaras matters too. A modern future queen does not have to choose only one visual identity. She can honor Diana one night, Queen Elizabeth on another occasion, and older royal history somewhere else. The collection gives her many ways to tell the public what kind of monarchy she wants to represent. That may be the strongest lesson from the Lover's Knot. Tradition does not survive simply because an object is old. It survives because each generation finds a reason to use it again. Diana gave the tiara one meaning, and Kate is giving it another, while the original history remains underneath both stories. And perhaps that is the real reason this story continues to attract so much attention. The tiara itself has not changed, but the woman wearing it has changed the meaning around it. Diana wore it during one chapter of the monarchy. Kate now wears it during another. Between those two women is a story of loss, survival, duty, and a royal family trying to move forward. In the end, the story returns to the same simple image: a woman entering a grand room wearing a historic tiara. But behind that image are generations of family memories, public expectations, personal loss, and the future of the crown. That is why one piece of jewelry can create such a powerful reaction long after it was first made. So when Kate steps into another stateroom wearing the Lover's Knot, the image carries far more than diamonds and pearls. It carries Queen Mary's design, Elizabeth's history, Diana's own public memory, William's family story, and Kate's own journey into the future. Kate does not need to copy Diana to honor her. She can wear the same historic piece, remember the woman who came before her, and still create a completely different chapter. That is how royal symbols survive. They gain new meaning with every generation. Diana's legacy still has enormous power. Her name can return to the headlines through a photograph, a ring, a dress, or a tiara. Kate appears to use that legacy carefully rather than loudly. The Lover's Knot is more than a famous royal jewel. It is a bridge between women, generations, and eras of the monarchy. Every time Kate wears it, the public sees Diana again, but it also sees Kate moving forward,